Going live. There it goes. There it goes. Let's make sure it goes live. There it is. It says we are live. And now I will tweet that we are live.
Okay, there we go. Okay.
Oh, look at her.
She's purring. Purring up a storm and biting my
Happy
fingers.
kitty.
Yep.
Happy kitty. She's just off camera for what the stream can see, but
Yeah.
No, that now they can see the tip of her ear.
Yeah. If I put my hand over here, she'll maybe.
Just kind of bring her in closer. You have to be like right, like you have to be right here on your microphone. Now you can see her. You can see her head.
Pixie.
Hi, Pixie.
Pixie. Over here. Come on over here.
She's like,
Slowly.
I don't know. Yeah.
Slowly trying to bring her.
I can see her on your preview video, but.
Hello, sweetie.
Aw, there's a little girl. She's so tiny.
Yep.
She's
sweetie.
so tiny. Oh.
Yep. Not bad for like 13. I think she is 12.
12, 13. Here, have my tail.
Yeah. Slowly moves across.
Have my tail. It's beautiful. It's lovely.
Take my tail, please.
Hi, Jarum. Hi, Zap. How are you? We are here for another round of Triple T, but on an early night. An earlier night than normal. Mark Conan, I'm going to play sounders and make sure you can hear them.
Okay.
Let's see.
You face Jaraxxus!
Yes, good deal.
Illidan, Lord of the Burning Legion.
Rawr! Yesterday I played Heroes of the Storm with Steph and a bunch of her friends.
Oh, nice.
She was leveling up Blaze on stream, and so she
Ooh.
will like just do quick matches to level up to level 5 so she can bring the new hero into Hero League. So so we were playing like, you know, Steph is Grandmaster ranked, and we're playing so we're playing quick match with her, and she's doing all the shot calling and everything like that, and so I'm just like, oh man, we're making like these sick plays, and I'm like, this is so much fun.
And then the other team is like, this is bad.
This is bad. Like we wiped the floor with one team, and then they had like we got against another 5-stack, and they wiped the floor with us. So
there you go, a little give, a little take.
Yeah, exactly. So we decided to be to YOLO it. Everybody, since she was playing Blaze, everybody else was she's like, oh, well, we'll just do random characters. Well, they set it so now you can get a random role. Like you can say, I want this role, like support in a random. And I didn't read that correctly, and I wound up unclicking support. And I had everything else but support on the random on the first one, and I wound up getting Murky. And so Murky is like, he's just a pain in the butt, and I was having so much fun playing Murky on Quick Match. I made this killer play at the end to help us win the game, and it was just like, I'm like, yeah, I still got it.
Oh yeah.
I still got it.
I've been wanting to try out Blaze when I get a second to try and play it.
He looks fun.
I haven't played Junkrat either. I haven't played since before Junkrat was in.
Oh wow.
It's been months since I played Heroes.
You'll have to ask Nevermore about her time with Junkrat, because she loves Junkrat. So he's fun.
Gotta ask her for some tips and tricks.
I played him in ranked Overwatch the other day and had just some killer awesome plays with him. I just had so much fun, and it was just like, after they changed him, he is just like, he's incredible. Like, such a fun character. Between
really
him
is.
and Moira, I love Moira. Like
Moira can be sick.
Oh.
I'm getting used to her.
I make
Getting
some
used to playing her and zipping
crazy
around.
plays on her, and it's just like, this is so cool, dude. Oh, it's so much fun. I've turned matches on Moira, like where we're just like trying to push the objective and nobody can get in, and then you get the ultimate and you're just like, nuke, and then they're all like, yeah. It's so fun. I realized that when we said we were going to do the show tonight, the Overwatch League started tonight, and so everyone's
That's
like,
right.
"Are you watching Overwatch League?" I'm like, "No,
not yet.
no." So
no, it's not playing on the other screen. No, totally isn't. Totally isn't.
No, I'm focused. I'll watch it when we get done because it'll still be going on when we get done. But it's gonna be fun stuff, and it's going on a weekend. It's like it's Overwatch League on weekend. I'm never gonna get anything done. So
yeah, and they had to put PAX South during it too. They just had to.
Well, Overwatch League goes on for a long time, so
yeah. Oh yeah. I'll have plenty of time. Plenty of time.
You'll have lots and lots and lots of time. So, okay, so we've played a sounder for you. You could hear the sounder. In chat room, hello chat room. I see people are starting to trickle in. It's not our normal night, so that's fine. We expect a smaller crowd, but that's cool. And yeah, we're gonna do the thing with the stuff. Do you see our video? Do you see that we're now part of the Convert to Raid stream team? Under our
Let me see.
Are you watching our video?
Yeah, I'm watching it right now, but I don't see. Well, maybe if I.
Let me make sure. Should be there.
No, I just see on the bottom it's got Patreon, Discord.
No, when you look
Twitter,
under our episode, episode 256.
Okay, not on the actual.
Yeah, it says talk shows.
Oh, yeah.
And then
I
Convert
see
to Raid
that now.
team. Yeah, there it is.
Sweet.
It's there. It's there.
Awesome.
Now we're in the same grouping of shows such as Convert to Raid and all the other Lords of the Storm and stuff like that. All of us are part of the same.
Pixie, what are you eating?
the famous question that a cat owner asks. What are you eating?
I don't know, but she's done with it. Whatever it was. I don't know. Sorry, she was.
It's probably a bug.
She's
probably eating a bug.
No, I don't know what it is, but she's not eating any more of it. Throw it away. Don't do that.
I used to find that with Spike all the time. I would be like, it'd be something on his face, and I'd be like, "What is that? Like, what are you eating?" And pull it off. It's like a piece of tape or something. Like, dude, what are you doing, you crazy cat?
Sorry.
Sorry, Mom. I like the tape. Oh, he ate everything. He ate bugs. He ate... Oh, well, Garrus loves to catch bugs and eat them, which is awesome. Because then if he catches them, I don't have to see it. So...
Yeah, that's kind of how Pixie is. She'll see just some random bug or something and start eating it. I'm like, okay, well, thank you. So that one less bug to crawl on my face tonight after I go to sleep.
There's your snack tonight.
Thank you.
One less bug to crawl on my face.
Yeah.
That sounds like a song you could write. There's one less bug that can crawl on my face.
Yep.
All right, chat room. Let's ready check you, and we'll get this show on the road. Hi, T. Gay Rise. Welcome. Y'all can get in here and say,
Get in here.
Get in here. Are you ready? You tell us you're
Everyone,
ready.
Get in the room.
Press ready if you're ready. That little sounder makes a great marker for me on my to let me know when it's time to like trim the tops and tails.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a good like I see it and just like because I recognize the waveforms of when the intro hits and when the outro hits, and so yeah, it's perfect. It's perfection. Oh, yeah. I love it. Hi, Bim. Welcome. And
hello.
Awesome. All right, lovelies. Are you ready, Marconin?
I am ready.
All right. Let me get that to this and this to this. Actually, I'm going to make this a little smaller. Whoop. There we go. smaller there so I can see them both. Move this over. All right. I'm ready. Need runes. Tauren Think Tank episode 256 records in 3, 2, 1.
You're listening to Tauren Think Tank, the podcast about the Blizzard gamer behind the keyboard.
It's episode 256 of Tauren Think Tank. Today is Wednesday, January 10th of 2018. It's 8:08 p.m. Central Time. My name is Jules, and with me, as always, is the rapidly preparing for PAX South, Mark Conan.
Hey, evening, Jules. Evening, everybody.
Hi.
It's good to be here. Good to be here a day early.
Yes.
Because of possible inclement weather in my trip to San Antonio. So.
Yes.
Jules was very gracious to bump us up a day this week to let me have enough time to prepare and get down there for the awesome PAX South. Going to be good. Looking forward to it. Get to see both Doctors Bean and see our buddy Cuddles.
Yeah.
And there are a couple different people down there. It's going to be great. Can't wait. So much fun. So, yeah, it's good to be here.
Yes.
How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. Please to give them all the hugs. Like, there needs to be at least a bazillion hugs given on my behalf to all of our friends who I will not see this weekend.
Absolutely.
I'm doing well. I got my hair colored tonight. I'm so excited. I found a new hairdresser. She was fantastic, and I have purple hair again, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited. It's just I hadn't done my hair since before BlizzCon, and it's kind of like this nerve-wracking thing when you're trying to find a new stylist and you don't know who they are and what they. And she was on it. She was like, and we had a great conversation. It was everything I wanted and more. So I'm super stoked with that.
Awesome.
That was like the bright spot in the last couple of days because it's been a little stressful. I've been trying to like keep my chin up and try to, stay focused. On Saturday of this week, I'm cleaning the house. I was vacuuming, doing stuff around the house, and I noticed it was a little cold in here. And I took a peek at the thermostat, and it was lower than it should have been set at. And it said it was running, but there was no furnace running. And I'm like, oh, no. So I did a couple things. I, kind of looked around. The furnace was like, it was not running. Like, there was no sound coming from the furnace. And so I actually cut the power to the furnace, turned it back on, and it came on. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe I tripped a breaker or something. Okay, cool. It goes and it tries to run because it's cold. It's like 10 degrees on Saturday. It was really chilly.
Yeah.
And then it runs and it stops, and I'm still not at the temperature that it was set at, which is around 70 degrees. And I'm like, what is going on? And so I cut the power again. I put it back on. It starts up again. And it's just continually doing this. And I'm like, this is not good. This is not good. It's running, but it's not running enough to keep up, and it's not turning on its own. It's like shutting off.
Yeah.
So I called my dad, which is what I always do because Dad knows everything. Dad, what do you think this is? And he's like, I described the problem. I described what I did. And he said, yeah, I think you're going to have to call because it's too cold. Like, it's just, and so I did some research. I found a furnace repair company that, did emergency service calls. They had really good ratings. And so I was like, okay, call him. He calls me back within half an hour and says, I'll be there in a couple hours. Okay. So $149 to have this taken care of. I'm like, no, because I've had a lot of unexpected bills this month and last month and the month before. And I was just like, this sucks. This really sucks. As it turned out, the furnace is fine, except for, the issue that I was having is that the filter that I was using for the furnace that I switched out from the one that was in there, was actually, it was restricting airflow so much that it was overheating the furnace and shutting it off.
Ah, I see.
Yeah, and so like I had changed the furnace filter like a good homeowner. I changed my furnace filter, but I bought one that restricted the airflow too much to my furnace, and as it turns out, I find out that the furnace that was put into this place 2 years ago is actually too big for my unit, for the size of my place. And which is actually a problem because it needs so much airflow to be able to heat the place, and it's like it was overheating and doing an emergency shutoff for 3 hours. That's what was happening. So I wound up going out to Target in like sub-zero weather to go find a different furnace filter that would work better. And since then, everything's been fine. So great news that I didn't. And they only charged me for the emergency call. There was nothing else. And
I was going to say there was no
repairs.
Nothing was actually wrong with it. Yeah.
No, it was just that the furnace filter. And I had like. I didn't do anything wrong. I just happened to buy a filter that was restricting the airflow, and nobody really would have known that until it happened. And I'm like, oh god. So anyway, that was the excitement from my weekend. I was just like, I was trying not to be really, really, really bummed out because it's like I've been hit with a bunch of emergency bills, and it's just like things that I just can't avoid, and it sucks. It really sucks.
Yeah.
So I was so glad. I was talking to Marconan over the weekend. I'm like, I'm really just glad that I didn't make the decision to go to PAX, even though I hate that I'm not going to be there. It's not in the cards. It wasn't in the cards for me this year. And it just like, it keeps like, I'm ready for that to stop now. I'm ready for those hits to stop because it's bugging the crap out of me to have to like go, oh God, not another like outrageously high emergency bill that I got to pay, So I'm ready for that.
Well, of all the things in the house to break in Minnesota in January, the furnace is the one thing you don't want to break.
Yeah, no. And luckily it wasn't broken because that would have been insane. But but at the same time, it was just like, I didn't really want to spend $150 to have someone come out. And if it had happened during the week, it wouldn't have cost me that much. And so it's just, it's just irritating. But I kept my chin up, I kept smiling. And, I think there's been some really good things that have been happening lately. So I'm, just focused on what I need to do. Right. So I'm, so this week, we introduced a brand new Convert to Raid show called Battlenet Sports.
Woo!
Yes. And so I am the HGC contributor for Battlenet Sports under the Convert to Raid banner, which is really exciting. I'm also the official HGC contributor for Nerf This, which I did another segment for them, which will be out, I think, today or tomorrow. Probably tomorrow. Did that, and I'm working with them to help build up some of their community efforts as well, which is a really cool thing. The Convert to Raid podcast and community released a brand new website, and that is out now. You can take a look at converttoraid.com. We've been working on that for the last few months, and it is beautiful.
Yes, it is.
It's pretty slick. I'm so stoked about that. So that's been the fruit of our efforts in there. And I'm also happy to announce that Pat Crane and I are heading to Orlando, Florida in the beginning of February to speak at Podfest. And we are speaking about building communities through gaming. They've invited us to come and speak about our experiences with building communities through gaming. So we're really excited to be heading back to Orlando this year, next month. Like, it is coming up fast.
Yeah.
And
right around the corner.
Yeah, so I sent a message to Pat. I'm like, we need to start planning our presentation, yo. So we're going to be talking about all that great stuff. So that's like, things are good. I was grumpy about the fact that I had another stupid emergency bill, but things are good. Things are really good.
Yeah. Just little bumps in the road.
You take the lumps and you just kind of go with it, and just like, and so, I mean, I'm super grateful that I have been selling quite a bit of product for my chainmail stuff. And commissions are flying right now. I have more commissions than I know what to do with, which is incredibly awesome. And it's a wonderful additional income for me, but more importantly, it gives me an opportunity to make things that I really enjoy and love. So it's been awesome, and I'm getting to talk about things that I love, on podcasts in a more comprehensive basis. Like, to be considered an expert on HGC is a really big deal, and it's super cool.
It really is.
So and so the new season for that starts next weekend, and I'm so excited. So yeah, things are good. Things are very good. How about you? What's shaking?
Goodness, compared to that, not much at all.
Not much.
Yeah,
you're getting ready for PAX, of course.
Yeah, that's the big news is PAX South. I leave tomorrow after work. Going to be there until Sunday, which is when the panel is.
Yes.
And then I'll be heading back after that. Should be really cool. I do like PAX South. It's a really nice, different vibe from BlizzCon and all the other Blizzard focused ones we go to. It's just very cool to see the rest of the gaming world. The console gamers, the portable handheld gamers. I have a 2DS XL now, so I can take it with me and and possibly like meet other people and play the games and stuff. And it's a different vibe, and it's really cool. A lot of tabletop games, a lot of just like party games and stuff like that. We had a lot of fun with that the last couple of years, and I just can't wait to go back. It's really nice. Scotch eggs too. Yeah, it's gonna be good. Can't wait for that.
Eggs.
Yeah, gotta have it.
That's
But
awesome.
yeah, that's really the big thing is just PAX South and prepping for it. Got the oil changed in my car, made sure the tires are ready. Got my haircut today too because it was starting to get a little shaggy. Today was the haircut day, and just getting everything ready. I've got my camera ready to record the panel. I'm working with one of the contacts there to try and make sure I can get some good audio this year. That way I'm not recording straight from my GoPro because that was a little too echoey last year.
Yeah.
That was my bad. So we'll work a little bit better on it this year, and if we could get it figured out. But yeah, that's the biggest thing. Just a lot of work lately for me. I went and helped take my grandparents, the family Christmas tree down on Sunday, which was really good because I got to sit and talk and really just pick my grandmother's brain about a lot of different things. Like a couple weeks ago, I started dabbling in the stock market just for fun, just buy and sell. Here we go. And so I just picked her brain on that and just tried to get some more knowledge because she's pretty knowledgeable about it. And it was just good to sit down and visit with her and my granddad and since I'm a couple hours away, I don't get that much time very often during the year. So any chance I can go to help or even just sit down and have a nice chat with them is good. So I helped them out around the house and everything too while I was there. And
awesome.
it was really good. Really good to do that and take some time because, throughout the rest of the year, you just don't get that time. At least I don't. So
yeah,
I like to take the time when I can take it.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's really the big thing was just prepping for PAX South. I'm thinking about it every minute, just trying to make sure I've got it all together. Like, I don't need to forget anything.
Are you? Is there a meetup or anything organized for PAX South at this part?
Not that. No, I really haven't had much. I don't really know very many people that are going to be there.
Okay.
I know like Cuddles and his wife are going to be there, and then of course Doctors Bean and Joel Christensen. Those are the people that I know.
I heard that Rue's coming.
Rue's coming back?
Yes,
okay, good.
So I think they'll be there for the panel, but just, if you decide to put together a meetup, then you guys can just message Marconin on Twitter or something.
Yeah. Yeah, if you guys want to say hi or something, I'll be there. I'll be there probably midday Friday, all the way until after the panel on Sunday, and then I'll start driving back because it's an 8.5 hour drive.
Yuck.
Woo! How many podcasts can I fit into 8.5 hours? Let's find out.
Well, if it's like ours, you get about an hour and a half for a podcast, and 90 minutes.
Yeah, like three or four. I'm not going to listen to them at 1.5 speed, just 1x speed.
Yeah,
just go through it. I think I may stop in Austin, or do a little bit of sightseeing on the way back or the way down there, just to kind of enjoy the drive as much as you can, being in the car that long.
Nice. Well, enjoy it. Be safe. We can't wait to hear all the fun stories that come back from PAX. And we'll go ahead and publish the panel if we can on the feed like we normally do, so you guys can have a taste of it from there. We may make it the episode depending on what's going on for the week, but we'll see. Awesome. Well, let's get into
yeah.
the show if you're ready.
I'm ready.
All right. We've got a listener question, a think tank question, so we will play the think tank bumper.
Tauren between options? Let Triple T help you sort it out.
It's Tink Tank time. We have as I said, a listener question that I will read right now. This listener wishes to remain anonymous. My father is in his late 70s. He's been living in an assisted living facility for 8 years. While my father has some physical disabilities, he also had brain trauma when he was 40. We know that affected his motor skills and some emotional cognitive skills, but until recently, we didn't know how severe this had gotten. Shortly before Thanksgiving, he was accused of sexual assault, specifically touching another resident's breast. Everyone was wearing clothing. He admits that he did this. We have taken all necessary actions for his physical well-being. He was evicted because he endangered another resident. He is now living with a family friend because assisted living has wait lists, and because right now we couldn't even try to get him placed with the mark on his record. We are also addressing his clearly deteriorating mental, emotional, and ethical cognition with the appropriate doctors, and have helped him find a lawyer for his case. Obviously, that's been quite draining on me and my sister. But underlying all of this is a more difficult thing to even begin to cope with. I have a very strong moral and ethical issue with my father right now. Finding him a place to live and helping him find a lawyer was hard enough. I kept reminding myself that no matter how horrible the crime, everyone deserves to live in a safe environment and have a right to the legal system. But I struggle with spending time around him and realizing I don't like my father and I don't respect him anymore. He has never done anything bad to me or, to my knowledge, my sisters. Family gatherings this year have been awful. My sister, her husband, my spouse, and I have literally had our conversations somewhat in spite of him being there, not actively trying to include him in conversation. But if we're not including him, this seems really rude and unfair. I've also been second-guessing my own morality. My family instilled in me the desire to take care of family members who need it, and I've been bitten before by other members of the family taking care of that hospitality. And I personally feel that men who are predatory deserve to burn in hell. Yet here I am helping my father. I know this is complicated, but I guess I'm looking for advice on how to stick to both sides of morality. Because of the brain damage, my father may not realize what he did was wrong anymore. And everyone deserves a safe place to live and a full access to the legal system, but how do I live with myself, knowing that I've spent my holidays with someone who's done something like this? Ooh, that's tough.
That is tough, and there's a lot in here.
Very much so. I think that there's I think for me, the very first place that I would start is I guess there needs to be an acceptance or an understanding that I don't think that they have a relationship with their father anymore. Yeah. It doesn't sound like it. Like, beyond the familial obligation of you need to find, you are responsible for finding him a place to live, that his needs are met. There's no other relationship there. There's no personal relationship there. And I think that needs to be addressed more than anything, because it's not knowing how they had a relationship prior to maybe his accident or his injury is I think a key thing, because like, if you had a really good relationship with your father and then he became cognitively impaired and was no longer personality wise that person, there's a loss that you have to adjust to, like a mental adjustment and grieving, right?
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I'm actually going through that right now.
Are you?
Yeah, because my dad was in a car accident back in '93, and it left a little bit of brain damage and put him in a coma for a week. He recovered, and he went on to finish to get his master's in engineering, and had a good career. But over the last couple of years, the side effects from that trauma have started to come. He can't, he was let go from his position at work, and he is not able to work. He can't, he gets lost in town now.
Really?
And it's tough. My sister, he's actually living with my sister now,
Is he really?
about a half hour away, which is really, really taxing on her, because it's like she has, in some ways, that she's taking care of two kids now, her 11-year-old son
you have your nephew,
and my
right?
dad.
Right.
Yeah. And, he got lost for hours and hours. He didn't take his phone with him, didn't have a GPS.
Wow.
So he would pull over, and he gets frustrated easily. So it was a real struggle. He would ask people for directions, but if they started getting too technical, he would walk away and he would leave, and he would try to find someone else. So he was lost in a town for like 5 hours until he finally found his way back to my sister's place.
Oh my gosh.
And I can tell, I mean, and it's like that, it's he filed for disability this year, and the judge is reviewing it now. That happened back in December. And he's still my dad. He still knows me, loves me. It's just some of the more complex things are starting to get hard for him.
Right.
And I am dreading it, because, in my brain growing up, that my dad should be, my dad. He should be the strong, the guy that would play wrestle with me when I was little, would play original Nintendo, like Double Dragon on Nintendo with me, and we do all this stuff, and he was always supportive, and he always is still supportive.
Right.
But I'm scared of what's to
course.
come. And it's just, and I really, really feel for our writer, because I do feel that. And my dad has hurt people's feelings, because he doesn't really have that filter anymore. He doesn't understand, and he's been taken advantage of by other people since this has come about in the last year and a half ish, somewhere in there.
Is it okay if I talk about what happened on Facebook like that last year? Remember that situation with Facebook?
Yeah, I think it's all right. I
mean, and so I've been aware of what has been happening for Marcona's dad for a while, and he had and it's very difficult, because I didn't know prior to what happened, but he had friended me on Facebook, and I had made a post about something about like the world seems to be kind of like in a tizzy or something like that. And his reaction was it was something that like shocked me. Like, he basically told me to like shut up and pull up my bootstraps and something like that. And I sent Marconan a message, and he explained what happened. And if I hadn't, and I didn't really know what happened, if it was anybody else, people can be really awful. Like, it's just,
Yeah.
I realized he doesn't mean what he's saying, or he doesn't know what he's saying. It's just this thing. What do you do? Like, there's nothing you can do about that. He's going to be he's an adult man. He has the ability to go and walk out of your sister's house without his phone and get lost for 5 hours. And it's just this helpless feeling. Yeah.
And, it's one of those things where, even now you have, with family, we just know that, he may say something that seems a little off. His intentions are good, but he doesn't quite know his phrasing and how it's affecting others. And he doesn't quite think like that way anymore. And it just doesn't occur to him. It's nothing wrong, or he'll jump to conclusions, or he'll get angry about something that's actually nothing. And it's frustrating. Not like I'm mad at him. It's just frustrating that he's going through this, and he sometimes doesn't even realize it.
Yeah. And there's and I think you and our writer can both say the same thing, that this is something that makes you feel very helpless. You don't have the ability to fix this. And, you've met your father's basic needs, both Marconan and the writer, making sure that he has a place to stay that's safe and around people that care about his well-being. But for our writer, when you get to a situation where their father has done something that is that completely conflicts with their moral code, and this is like, how do you resolve the fact that, yes, your father may not know of what he has done, like, or have recognized that he has done something that you find abhorrent, but it still doesn't change the fact that you are repulsed by it, by his actions. And that needs to, 100% would recommend talking to a therapist, because there's so much anger and helplessness and frustration and sadness about all of that you have to talk about this, and because you're the only person that you can help in this. How your actions and how you feel about it is the only thing that you can control.
Mm-hmm.
And you may not even feel like you can control that right now,
Yeah.
But it's like, I've seen similar situations in families where someone in the family was mentally disabled, and like the family would get together and that person would be there, but they'd be sat in a corner someplace and everybody would be talking and nobody would be talking to the disabled person. And I think that, it's just this, I come from a philosophy of saying, if you feel like you should be having family gatherings without your father, there's a perfectly justifiable reason to say this is what we're going to do. Nobody says in stone that you have to have a Thanksgiving where your father has to be there.
Yeah.
I know that sounds cruel, but if that is not what you and your family has honestly felt together, then you need to make that honest decision together for your own mental health and well-being. That's my opinion on that. Yeah,
and I think there's a lot right with feeling that way and wanting to do that. I don't know exactly. I know what the writer's father did, but does he know that he did wrong? What was the context of the situation?
The only thing they say is that he admits that he did it. Like, he admits that he touched another resident's breast with their, he admits that happened, which is what got him booted out of his home, for the safety of everybody around him. And, but is it a situation where he laughs and says, I would do it again, or there's nothing wrong with this, and it's a malicious thing? Nobody seems to know that. And it's kind of like that I think that the writer needs to understand from a medical perspective, is that the case or not? Like, does he know what he's done is wrong, or does he, or not? To the point where, like, when you raise a child and you say you're not supposed to pull your pants down in public, and you tell that child that is not something that you will ever do, ever, ever, ever. And the child, like, oh gosh, I have the fear of, like, this is not socially acceptable. My parents said I can get in major trouble and the police will come get me. You raised in that way, and you know it, and you grow up and you go through life knowing that you're not supposed to pull your pants down in public, right? So if that's the case, then is he missing that key fear of consequence? Yeah,
or does he even realize that what he did was not right?
Yeah.
Because in some, I'm glad you brought up the point about the child, because when it gets to this point, the roles reverse a lot of times when you have elderly parents, is that they lose their independence and their ability to reason. And it's almost, like I said earlier, like my sister's having to take care of two kids in a way, and that you have to kind of like, no, you're not supposed to grab that woman's boob. You're not supposed to do that. I don't know if it's just a mental skip there.
Right.
And that until you know that for sure, I would, if it, and Jules, me, I err on the side of care and of trying to understand and not judging. as far as like a clear cut, like this happened and cut you off, I don't know, because like I said, I don't know if he really knew what he did was wrong, or, you know, is there any room for forgiveness in here and trying to move past it and not just, you know, because a lot of times as soon as this topic is raised and someone is accused of something, the door shuts on them completely. And like you said, and rightfully so, he got kicked out of his of the home because, you know, if it happened once, it could happen again, and they don't want to take that chance. They don't want to be liable for it. You know, they don't want anyone else to get hurt, and rightfully so.
Right.
That's fine. That's you know, laws and policies of a company or of a hospital. That's one thing. When it comes to the family dynamic, and you know, like they said, they've got this kind of moral feeling to take care of their family members. And, you know, like we talked last week, that's what kind of makes a society work, is being able to work and help other people, sometimes with no even benefit to yourself. If
right.
For no good reason you help somebody. And I think in kind of a way, this might be a similar situation where, yes, he screwed up. So do kids. Even if you tell a kid not to pull their pants down in public, they may do it to spite you, or they may do it for another reason, or they may forget because didn't I just tell you not to do that? Oh, I forgot. I'm sorry. You know, even then, parents will forgive their kids. They're like, don't do that again. Now remember that, and don't do it again. And they'll move forward and try to improve and change it and do better. And it just feels like he's being cut off a little too prematurely from his family in that way. And it sucks for someone to not be that same person. And you know, I know they said that they don't like their father anymore. They don't respect them anymore. Why? I would like to know, like, why exactly that is. Is it just because of the incident, or, I mean, was it just an entire upbringing of just coldness from your parents? I don't know, but
yeah,
you know, I've got the strong family desire, like, you know, be there for your family because they're your family and because that's what you're supposed to do. Kind of, that's my background. That's where I come from on it. So that's why I struggle sometimes when reasoning through, and I can see both sides of these kinds of issues, but I always err on the side of compassion and forgiveness.
Yeah.
So I don't know where that really aligns with our writer, but I mean, I think that might be something to consider.
Yeah, I think that the struggle comes in just as if it were a child. Is you know, it is, you are lacking the ability to have a clear conversation with your father and saying, you know, I want to understand why you did this. I want to understand, you know, and because if it were a child and your child just did something because that's what their you know, their underdeveloped brain just tells them, they're impulsive. They do things that they shouldn't do because it's there and it's done. And that can be sometimes equated to someone who is mentally or cognitively impaired or brain damaged. You know, there's that filter is missing. So there may be no reason at all that it happened. It just happened. And he didn't even think about the fact that it was a bad thing because that part of his brain doesn't exist anymore.
Or it's crosswired, you know,
or it's crosswired or something like that, which is a brutally hard thing to come to terms with as an adult who has the ability to reason this out. And you seek understanding, you seek logical explanation of what happened when there may not be any logical explanation except the fact that it happened. And it happened because he's cognitively impaired. So that's like the worst scenario when it comes to trying to come to terms with a morality issue, because there really may not be, you know, there may not be a moral code in there to follow. Like you're holding that person to a standard of morality that may not even be their possibility.
They might not know it or understand it anymore.
Exactly. So that's and so that's kind of why I'm using in the equation of the child. You have different standards for children. Using the example of a child pulling down their pants in public. Like, you know, most of the time it would be, don't do that. Don't ever do that again. And the expectation is the child is so freaking scared of the consequences of that action, that they would never do it again, because you just put the fear of like a higher power in them, and the fear of the fact that they could get, the police would come and get them arrested. Like there's those extreme things that happen when you parent a child that you will make sure that they will never ever do, if they ever even dared to do it, because you scared the living shit out of them.
Yeah.
Because
usually bring in my upbringing, it was whenever they used my middle name.
Yeah.
That's when I knew I was in trouble.
Yep. When I got called by my first and middle name, then I knew I was, that I don't know if that's still a thing for parents these days, but it sure was in our generation. So that is something that I have to give to our writer to say, what standard are you and this is really, really, really hard, because your relationship is you are the child and they are your father. And so there's a kind of a conceived set of rules that they are the higher ranking adult than you are, right? It's just like they are the ones that raised you. They're the ones that taught you what you know and the right from wrong. And so you hold them with respect and reverence and all of those things. So now your parent has violated that in your mind. And now you don't even know what standard to hold them to. So if you can reframe it, even to the point of thinking of him as a child in certain ways, how does that look for your moral compass? How does that look for what you are comparing his behavior to? And that is all stuff that a therapist is really, really going to help with, because you're almost having to like stop thinking of him as your dad. Yeah.
And that idea, it bothers me, thinking that eventually I'm going to have think of him that way too. It just, it conflicts and it hurts a lot.
Absolutely.
And it's
horrific.
It is, and it's not fair, and it sucks.
It's horrific, and it's not something that you didn't sign up for that, right? You didn't sign up for the fact that your parent is going to mentally deteriorate to the point where they're no longer the same person that you grew up with. And as I said earlier, there's a mourning that has to come with that. There's an acceptance process that has to come through that. And it is the same as going through as if it, and I know this is horrible to say, but it's as if they had died, because their personality is not that way anymore. And so, and then it's going through a process of acceptance of who they are now. It's a transformation in your perception of that person. So, and that is like a crap ton to process. It's so much information and so much emotional baggage and so difficult. It's like, I couldn't even imagine that. But I know, millions of people go through this every year, because as we live longer, our parents age, and age is not kind to, I spoke to my 88-year-old grandmother this morning for her birthday, and that woman is smart as a whip. She just, she's got issues, physically issues, but her mind, she's like right there. She's all right there. And, and the times where you think about it, you're like, you're so grateful for having the times that you have with your family, with your grandparents, with your parents. And as they age, that starts to fade over time. And it's one of life's cruelest things that you have to watch that happen. It's really, really hard. And then you have the situation where, your father has now, he's been cognitively impaired for years, for at least 30 years of his life in this situation for the writer, and yours too. Your father's been impaired for quite some time. But it's starting to really show now.
Yeah, it didn't really show until the last couple of years. And it's it's really hard. And I'm probably going to call him and tell him I love him after the show tonight because I'm so bothered by this.
I know.
Oh. But yeah.
And my dad is in the chat room, and I love you, Dad. It's hard because this is just, there's so much that needs to be unpacked in terms of what you believe, what you identify with, who you identify your parent as, and who they are now. 100% recommend therapy on this. Like, you need to talk about it for sure. So hard. And maybe there's some tough decisions that need to be made in terms of the time that's spent with your father while you're going through this.
Yeah. And a lot of understanding. And I know you said that you're spending the holidays with someone that's done something so heinous. And for me, I would have to remind myself that, he may not have been fully aware and control.
Yeah.
And, I couldn't in good conscience hold it against him because, he may not have known. And I don't want to rob my dad of time with me that he can remember, or time that I can have with him that I can remember because of, I'm not belittling what he did at all. It's just the intent and the knowledge of it. He may not have been fully aware.
Exactly.
And for, and that's where my morality would lie, is that on the off chance that he didn't know, I'm not going to shun him for something he doesn't know he did wrong and doesn't understand.
Yeah. The key, though, is that if there is a way for you to be able to assess that either with his doctors, that I think that's the closure that you kind of need, to have it said, he does not know what he does. Like, he has no sense of, and who the heck knows? I mean, we're very, very smart when it comes to mental diagnoses, but nobody understands the brain fully. Nobody understands the impact of mental trauma fully. Every person's situation is different. And so an expert can do their best, but they may not be able to tell you for sure if he truly understands his actions or not.
Yeah.
But you have to get some of that closure, or at least attempt to, in my opinion.
Yeah, you'd have to at least try.
Yeah. That's where I think it might help to try to resolve some of this, and also for you to go get some therapy and talk to someone completely objective about the situation, who doesn't know you, doesn't know your father, doesn't know your relationship, and tries to understand what it is that, where you see each other now, and if there is a relationship there at all. Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah. It's really, really, really tough, and I'm so sorry that you have to go through this. I don't I don't wish that on anybody at all.
Me either.
Mental deterioration is such a hard thing to watch. So I wish you luck, writer. Thank you for sending in your letter, and we hope that we've helped at least a little bit with a perspective that is outside of where you are. And thank you very much. If you folks in the audience have feedback for our writer and would like to send that in, you can do so at questions@taurenthinktank.com. That's our email address. And we are there to help.
We are here to help.
And you can also jump into our Discord and talk to us there. We have a discussion channel in there, and that's tinyurl.com/TTT-chat2. All right. Should we do some Tell Us One Thing?
I think we should. I think it's time.
I think you're right. Let's do it.
We read your submissions because reading your mind would just be creepy.
It's Tell Us One Thing time, and it was my turn to...
Oh, yeah!
So I came up with these questions. Number 1, Mark Honan, what show or shows are you binge watching currently on Netflix, Hulu, or other streaming services?
Man, you were very topical on this one because I just spent the last 3 days watching all of Star Trek Discovery.
Ooh.
I did. And I
Discovery.
even watched the second half of the first season premiere that came out on Sunday. I watched that last night. So I am now caught up finally with Star Trek Discovery. That's been the main thing lately. And there was a big WTF moment in the 2 episodes ago. And my wife and I like when they finally started to make the reveal, I got chills and I was like, holy crap, it's this thing. And then my wife was like, holy crap, you're right. Oh my God. And we had to freak out for a minute. And it was really cool. I was a little skeptical about it because I bleed Trek.
Yeah.
And it's a little weird starting off. It's not, I just felt kind of uneasy.
Yeah.
But it's growing on me, and and the uniforms, I'll give them that. Uniforms look awesome.
Yeah.
So it's growing on me. So
Okay.
Discovery, and also the second season of Troll Hunters on Netflix. I'm digging my way through that, which is a very awesome CGI by DreamWorks, I think it is. I think it's DreamWorks that's doing it. Very, very well-made series. It's kind of an all ages thing, so not just for kids. I know Bim is a big fan of it in our chat room, and so am I. So definitely check that out. Watched Defenders finally a couple weeks ago on Netflix. But it's mostly Discovery lately. What about you?
So I, while I'm sitting and making jewelry, if I'm not streaming, I watched the entire series of Gilmore Girls.
Oh yeah.
Finally watched that after forever ago. I never saw it at all, so I watched the entirety, and then the new Netflix series that they did last year. So I watched that. So while I'm streaming, or while I'm doing chainmail stuff, I have been watching the Great British Baking Show, which is amazingly that is the nicest reality show you will ever see in your life, because they are the kindest people in the world to each other. And then I've been watching old seasons of America's Next Top Model, which has been such an eye-opening thing for me, because they started sometime in like 2003 or something like that. And to see the differences of like what is acceptable now in today's culture versus what was acceptable then when it came to like the modeling industry and all that, like I like the things that these judges say about these contestants, like they could never say them now, ever.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to watch it, because I'm like, I cringe, and then I'm like, oh, that's because I am watching something from like 15 years ago.
Yeah. It's like watching Blazing Saddles.
Yes. So I've been watching that and then of course I am watching Project Runway whenever I go to the gym. I watch that on the treadmill. So
Nice.
And Jay says, I think Janice Dickinson would still say those same things today. She is awful, dude. Like, she is terrible. So freaking mean. So yeah, but I love Project Runway. I've been catching up to that. I started with season 6 because that was what was on Hulu. I just finished season 14, and so I've just been like watching, because I go and I walk on the treadmill when I do that, the gym. That's me. That's what I've been binging.
Awesome.
Yeah. So we asked you guys what you've been watching, and we got all kinds of stuff. Wolf Tracker said Sailor Moon, Fairy Tail, and Community. I've not seen any of these.
I used to watch Sailor Moon in the morning before school when I was really little.
Really?
So that was like that and Voltron were the first 2 animes I ever watched.
Oh my gosh. That's
So I would watch that in the morning before school. Now you know my secret.
Secrets.
Fighting evil by moonlight. Anyway, Namiria941 says Crashing on HBO, The Americans on Amazon, and Call the Midwife on Netflix.
Haven't seen any
all
of
the
those either.
streaming services.
Yes. Haven't seen any of those either. Kaya Finn says Young Sheldon on CBS All Access and The West Wing all the time on Netflix.
Oh, yeah, nice. Gossi says The 100.
I haven't seen that either. Queen of the North says Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. I can't say that I've really binge watched, but I've really enjoyed what I've seen. Plus, my wife does a podcast about the show. Well, that's cool. That's
Very
awesome.
cool. I haven't seen that one either. That's cool. Broken Bones says the Orville. It is just funny and gives you a break from reality. And and I agree. I've really enjoyed what I've seen in the Orville.
Uh-huh. Deekshin says lately it's been Criminal Minds, Stranger Things, and NCIS. Stranger Things was so good. Season 2 was so good. Oh, so good.
It was. My wife finally caught up on it a couple weeks ago, and I watched the second season again with her, and it was just so good.
Those kids are so talented. Holy crap.
Really are.
They
really are. It's so good. Our good friend Lita says, currently addicted to watching as many cooking shows as possible, trying to expand my skills and techniques.
So Lita posts like all the baking that she does on on Instagram. I don't know how she does it because she makes like these massive amounts of food. I don't know where it goes because I have no idea like who's she feeding, because that is a incredible amount of baked goods that looks so good. And if I had them in the house, I would be bigger than I am now.
I was gonna say, Lita, if you ever want to send me any baked goods, I would not be opposed to trying them. Because they always look delicious.
I know. It would just take 3 weeks to get here, and they'd be stale, and that would be in travesty because they look so darn good.
I know. So can't teleportation be a thing?
I know.
I'm a mage, for crying out loud.
Seriously. Corey J. Taylor says Bob's Burgers on Netflix. People have been telling me I need to watch Bob's Burgers, so I'm going to probably add that to my list.
I totally should.
Okay.
It's pretty good. Zandara says, I started rewatching Star Trek the original series while I waited for Discovery's break to be over. TOS is great to watch when you can't sleep.
Okay.
All of that overacting.
Yes.
All that overacting can put you to sleep.
Damn it, Jim.
I'm trying to go to bed, so that's why I talk like this.
Mema says Critical Role. Honestly, a great D&D campaign airing the day after your show, starting a new series. This is one of those things that I should watch Critical Role and just get into it. So here's like the nerd fact that you guys may not know. I've never played a D&D campaign. I've never seen a D&D campaign. I don't know how it works. I don't understand how any of it works. So like watching a Critical Role would be like, would I understand it? Would I get it? Would it be okay? Like, would I understand what was going on, right? Or would I just need somebody to sit down with me and be like, Jules, this is what's happening? So,
I think you know enough of of course, other games like it.
Yeah.
I've got to roll a dexterity roll or an intellect roll. I have to roll. So you're rolling to see if you pass or fail. And then there's a story. The Dungeon Master's like the storyteller.
Yeah.
He's the quest giver or whatever. So I think there's enough of a bleed over from what you already know in gaming and fantasy, stuff like that. You would pick up on it pretty quick. Okay. I played a little bit of D&D freshman year out of college, so it's been a while, but that's also another thing I've been wanting to watch too. I just keep hearing more and more about it, and I need to just get around to watching it. But I think you'd be okay. I think you would pick up on it pretty well.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm that worried person who's like, I don't know if I understand how this works. Because I've gone 43 years. So I know. I've gone 43 years with not understanding how D&D works. So it's like one of those things where you're like, should you keep trying to not understand? I don't know. There's been plenty of things where people were like, we should start a D&D campaign. I just I don't have the time. But
I know.
Yeah. So it's too funny. And that one is supposed to be on the other line. So then that is it.
That is it for the first question.
Yes. That is it for the first question. We asked a second question that I thought was kind of fun and interesting, and I will ask you this first. If you could share a meal with one Blizzard-focused personality, it could be an employee, a voice actor, a community content creator, who would it be and why?
This is a really tough question to answer because there's so many.
I know.
And the easy answer for me would be Andrea Toyas, who's the head of the voice acting and voice talent at Blizzard, and I've talked to her several times at BlizzCon, after the voice panel and stuff like that. So it would be really good to kind of sit down and share a meal with her. But also, gosh, it would be either her or, goodness, I'm trying to think all these voice actors that have, because Blizzard's exploded with all of these, famous voices, voices that you've heard before. Goodness, Moira is Mon Mothma in Rogue One.
Yeah.
So that's, goodness, big talent. I'm just gonna have to go with the easy second answer, and that's Metzen. It'd be great to just sit and chat with him.
That would be
really cool. What about you?
So for me, I would actually love to sit down and talk to Jeff Kaplan.
Yeah.
Because I just think he's got the analytical mind, but still the creative mind that just melds with who I am. And so I would have so much fun just talking to him about the creative process, but also how they strategize on how they create characters, like for the world of Overwatch, because it is so new. Like they can just like pull it out of thin air and create the lore, you know, and it's just this kind of like free for all in there too. And so to be able to do that'd be super cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I'm right there with you. And I would love to ask him about that, that Christmas Yule log 8-hour stream. I'd love to talk to him about that too.
I'm pretty sure that was pre-recorded. I'm pretty sure that was pre-recorded.
Pre-recorded, yeah. But all of the little things that would happen every so often. I just had it up that night, and I was looking at something else, and then I was there when he got up and walked away, and it just cut. The feed would just cut as soon as he got off the screen. And I was like, what? That
was such an I didn't watch it because I watched a little bit of it, and I'm like, this is such an exercise in just like people's reactions to things. Like there is I was actually more interested in watching the Twitter feed of people freaking out over the fact that he moved, or that he might eat the cookie, or that he opened a present. Like there's this like there was just this thing about, there's this obsession with like, I can't look away. And I was just like, I'm looking away. No problem. Like, it's just, for me, it didn't do anything. And there were just people who couldn't not watch it. And was fascinating to me. And if you don't know what we're talking about, on Christmas Eve, they Overwatch just surprisingly put up a Twitch stream of Jeff Kaplan sitting by a fireplace it was like the Overwatch Yule log, and it was an 8-hour stream of him doing this. And it was just like, and there were just these little things sprinkled in. He just sat in his chair and stared at this camera for like, it was wild. Like I could not do that. I would laugh too much.
Yeah. I mean, he didn't even say anything. As far as I know, he didn't even say anything.
No, he never spoke.
Yeah, and then there's all these little things. Like at one point, the fire went out, and he kind of looked behind him, and kind of went, and it turned back on like a clapper. And all these little things. I think there was like a Genji picture that he put up. It says, "I need healing," and he held it up and put it as a present.
Yep,
that's what it was. Okay,
This is little like, it's just very funny. Like, you know, I mean, it was brilliantly done, and so that would be like the coolest conversation to ask him about that. You know, like what was the concept behind it? Like what was the brainstorming behind it? Because I know sometimes like what my brainstorming sessions are like when we're coming up with really cool ideas for like convert to raid and stuff like that. And some of it is like people would laugh their butts off if they heard like how we brainstorm and how we come up with ideas and the things that we say to each other to get to where we are. It's really funny. And so to have people like be able to hear that from Jeff Kaplan would be really cool. Anyway. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not talking about So we asked you guys, and you came back with a lot of suggestions. Wolf Tracker said, Evelyn Fredrickson, the creative development historian of Blizzard Entertainment. I'd love to pick her brain, as she was known as Chris Metzen's database.
Oh, yeah, I agree completely. Namiria941 says Ben Brode, because Hearthstone got me into Blizzard games, and he seems like a really fun dude and has one of the coolest voices in all of Blizzard.
He does.
Oh,
yeah.
That man and that voice.
Whew. He's like a larger than life dude. That was really cool.
He is.
Kaya Finn says, Hannah Straw, graphic designer for WoW, met her at BlizzCon with her husband, and they were so nice and so down to earth.
She is one of my favorite people at Blizzard.
She's awesome. She's so much fun.
She is amazing.
Arcane Ratzel is her name on Twitter if you haven't seen her.
Mm-hmm. Yep, she's the coolest. Gossi says, the podcasters. I like the players who can take the time to help out other players and make the game even better. I don't really know what to say to the makers of the game, but I love talking to the people who make all the podcasts I love.
That's really cool. Oil and Gas Dad said, I'd hang out with Noble87. I think we could nerd out about lore the whole time, and he came across as genuinely nice.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Queen of the North says, after watching their cooking streams, I'd love to say hi to Tim and Nicole from Heroes of Fitness. Great food and fun people. They are.
I can make that happen, I can get them to a meetup at some point in Minnesota.
Yeah.
I have ways.
She has contacts.
I was actually at their house last weekend while they were doing their cooking stream because they were having such bad technical issues with their stream that I was like, guys, do you need me to come over and just like take a look at this? And so they were like, sure. So they're 20 minutes away from me. So I drove over to their house and I, looked at what they had and wasn't able to diagnose what was wrong on site, but I have a couple of ideas and we're working on some of their stuff. But they are such a cool, they're the coolest people ever. Nicole's been on the show. They're incredible. And I'm so happy that we know them.
Absolutely. Yeah. They were great to meet.
Daceman says, if I could talk to Matthew Mercer, voice of Ragnaros, McCree, etc., that would make my month. But I have questions to ask the professions dev, zone design devs, and in-game art devs. I should choose Ian in hopes I can change a little bit of Warcraft enough to stay playing.
Yeah, Matthew Mercer is, oh man, his voices are so cool.
I agree. I didn't know he did Ragnaros, actually. That was new to me.
Yeah, it might be him. Well, I thought Ragnaros was Metzen, at least the old Ragnaros. May be that the new Ragnaros and Heroes and stuff might be.
Gotcha.
Now I've got to look it up. I do not know.
I don't either.
Also, that other McAfee says there are so many voice actors who've worked for Blizzard that I'd love to have lunch with. Perhaps the best balance between educational, inspirational, and entertaining would be Richard Horvitz, though.
Okay. Awesome. Lita Wow says, now that Christy Golden is part of the Blizzard family, I would say I'd love to share a meal and chat about all the things.
Indeed. She is such a cool lady. From Santa Calaca?
Yes.
Calica? Orc and roll, anyway. Liam O'Brien, they say. So he can tell me, I am not prepared, when I bring him his plate.
I love Liam O'Brien. He's awesome.
Yeah, he is.
Corey J. Taylor says, how can you pick just one? Michelle Morrow is top choice, but Darren DePaul and Chris Metzen are close behind.
Yeah, I second the Darren DePaul.
He's so much fun. That man has so much energy. Holy crap.
He does. And he's so humble but so energetic. It's
there's just so much energy that comes off that man. It is incredible to be in his presence. He is just wow. It's so cool.
Just radiates it.
Yes, it's very, very true. It's like that you just feel his energy when you're around him. It's so cool.
Catchphrase.
Candy.
I love Reinhardt. And finally, from Cone_Arcanus, it's a toss-up between Metzen and Mercer. Both are legends in their own right and seem like people that'd be cool to talk with for a while.
Agreed. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you to all who gave us Tell Us One Thing answers this week. We'll put them out there again for next week. Depending on how things are going for the week, we, in Mark Conan's travels and everything like that, we may not do a show next week. We may just post the audio from the panel. We'll see. We'll see what happens there. But if we do, there will be questions for you guys to answer on Twitter and on Discord. You can find us at Tauren Think Tank on Twitter and Discord, which is tinyurl.com/TTT chat too. We have a little bit of feedback to give, so we are going to do that right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, we now bring you... Whoa, that's a lot of feedback.
I'm having an issue where there's like a cat hair on my microphone cover that is just like ticking my chin, and it's making me crazy.
I have an entire cat right by my microphone.
And your entire cat. She's been there all night.
As you can see.
She has been there all night, just kind of hanging around Marcona's microphone. She's so quiet. You don't even know she's there, except you see a little tail go by.
Quit playing with that cat. She's playing with stuff on my desk.
So last week's episode was a pretty raw and real one for both of us.
Yeah.
And I was crazy surprised and overjoyed by the amount of feedback that we got. I got privately. I had a lot of people who sent me a message on Twitter, on Discord, and just said thank you for talking about this, for being real about it, from talking about your own experiences, because this is a real and an important issue to discuss, which is the topic of depression and suicide. And I just wanted to read one of the feedback statements that I received anonymously. The writer gave me permission to read it, but wasn't sure if they wanted me to talk about it from their name. So I'll just read it without the name. And they said, listening to the latest Triple T, I was affected by a friend who committed suicide in 2005. I don't want to share this publicly, as it is a topic that I feel is best left to one-on-one discussions, and I don't want the focus on myself. James was the kid who would lift me up in the weeks in youth group when I was feeling bad. He always knew what to say to inspire me. I never knew what he struggled with until on the only youth retreat I had not been on. He hung himself during one of the breaks. It shook me, and only recently was the memory brought back to me. I guess I share this as part of why I can be so Pollyanna-ish optimistic. I want to keep James' legacy alive, and I want to hopefully bring a bright spot to someone else's day. I agree with the fact that suicide is hard, and the stuff you mentioned on this show. I hope this makes sense. Life isn't easy, and no one chooses to be in the dark moments, and sometimes they can't get out.
Mm-hmm.
And they were absolutely right. You know, how many times have we heard stories from people who just said they never gave any signs of, you know, depression. They were always smiling and happy and there for everybody else. I mean, just the recent Chester Bennington, you know, people were talking about how Chester Bennington, for like the day that he committed suicide, he was smiling, happy. There was videos of him having a great time, and it was like, and then by the next day he was gone. And this is the reality of what survivors of suicide deal with, is this feeling of, I should have known, but I didn't know. And they never gave me any indication that this was so bad. And that is why the conversation needs to continue, and it needs to continue with us every day. And so you're going to see a lot of slash moves tonight from people who are sharing that sentiment. And I appreciate that so much. So thank you to our writer who sent me this feedback. Thank you to everyone who sent me a message to thank us for doing this show, that particular episode, and doing the show in general. It means so much to hear, and I can't thank you enough for taking the time to write it, because I think we've said this in the past. Like, sometimes Mark Honan and I, when we do the show, it's like, we know how much you guys appreciate the show, but you're busy people and you have lives and things going on, and it's not always easy, or it's not even top of mind to drop a podcast or a note to tell them how much you appreciated the work that they did. And so sometimes you think, are you just shouting into the ether? Are we giggling at each other and no one is hearing it? It's like the tree falling in the woods doesn't make a sound. And to get that kind of feedback is crucial. It's vital to our lifeblood, and it's not something that we require, nor do we request. It's just letting you know that the time that you take to give it to us means the world, because you actually really took that time, you know, and it helps us more than you know. Definitely.
Yeah. Because, I mean, especially when we talk on such heavy topics, stuff that's really hard for us to talk about, to have that little bit of feedback it does help us. Because, you know, we know you're busy. I can probably count the number of times on both hands that I gave feedback on podcasts before I started doing them, myself because of you're just busy. And like she said, we really appreciate it when you guys do take the time. So thank you so much for writing in, for messaging us. It's tremendously appreciated. And we love hearing back from each and every one of you.
It makes a difference. It does. And so
it really, really does.
Thank you for that. When we go to BlizzCon, we hear it all the time, because we see you and we get to hug you and you tell us to our faces. And so it is something that really means a ton. And yeah, I won't harp on it anymore. But I just want to say thank you because I think, we really do. It's something that doesn't happen a lot. And so when it happens, it's really, really appreciated.
Yeah.
All right. So then we're going to get into the part of the show called the Slash Moo. Slash Moos are the ways that you guys tell us all about the amazing people in your lives and what they do and how they impact you. Do you want to start, please?
Sure. From Emmett, a slash moo for all of those suffering from the blues and depression after the holidays. Bear hugs and my kitty Suki offers to help you by letting you pet her.
Aw.
Kitty pets,
Thanks,
yes.
Suki. Zafira says, slash moo to everyone that was brave enough to share their stories within the last year. Just wanted to let them know I care about them and the rest of the Moo crew.
Mm-hmm. WoW Challenges says, slash moo to our wonderful moderators. They do a lot of work answering questions on Discord. They help me keep relatively sane.
Moderators are
they're a godsend.
They are a godsend in human form. Like, for real.
Yes.
I mean, moderators are selfless work. It's just doing it hard. Frazzly-tastic says, slash moo to Zafira Zella and Lycia Raids. These two people have been people I met this past year, and I'm so honored to know them. It helps me appreciate my new friendships.
Awesome.
Yes.
Slash moo to new friends.
Slash moo to new friends. And yeah, I mean, just I love the fact that people are meeting each other through communities and gaming and all of that stuff. That's going to be part of what Pat and I are going to be talking about in Florida, and I'm really excited about doing that because, I mean, we've seen so many of these things. We've seen so many people connecting with each other because of gaming and the games that we play together. So it's pretty incredible when you think about it.
It really, really is. It's just so cool.
I know.
All the people that I've met and the friends that I've made since starting all this, it's just so awesome.
It's pretty amazing. And that, Mark Conan, is a show.
I do believe it is.
I do believe so. And so you will be tiring yourself out on the road
for
the next few days, heading out to the wilds of San Antonio, Texas. Anything else going on in the interim that you want to talk about?
Not really. That's kind of taking up all my time for the next week.
Yeah.
Is that, and then get back to the grindstone of work on Tuesday when I get back to town. It's that's mainly it. So, once more, if you are in the greater San Antonio, Texas area this weekend and are planning to attend PAX South, I think there's still tickets for Sunday, which is when the panel is going to be with myself and Doctors Anthony and Holiday Bean are both going to be there, as well as Joel Christensen from Dog Theory Games. If you want to find our panel, it's called Anxiety and Depression You Can Harness, Furthering Yourself. That's going to be on Sunday between 3 and 4 p.m. in the Armadillo Theater. If you want to come by and say hi, I will say hi back, give you a nice hearty handshake, a crisp high five, or a hug, whichever you prefer.
I'm going to say hi.
Hi.
And if you don't know, Doctors Holiday and Anthony Bean have been on the show multiple times. You can also look back to episodes where they've been on it if you'd like to hear more about them. And they are wonderful, wonderful people. So
they really are.
Really excited that you get to see them this weekend. And I'm looking forward to hearing how all the panel stuff goes.
Can't wait.
I know. For me, you can hear some new stuff. You can go to converttoraid.com and you can get the latest episode of Battlenet Sports. You should be able to get me on the latest episode of Nerf This that comes out this week as well. Those 2 HGC commentaries, if you're into that kind of thing, you can hear me there. And I will be streaming Chainmail Work tomorrow night, Thursday, working on a fidget toy commission. And then I will be also streaming for a short while on Sunday as well. Making
Sweet.
all the fidget toys, yo. It's pretty
All of
sweet.
them.
All of them. So you can come and check them out because these fidget toys are freaking amazing. And they're flying off my pliers right now. So
Flying off the playa.
flying off the pliers. You can come check that out. And that's twitch.tv/JulesRPG, just like my name on Twitter. So you can follow that to let you know when I go live. I play fun tunes and we talk about life. So, okay, with that, I'm going to bring this show to a close like we always do, just like this. Tauren Think Tank is a proud member of the Signals Media All-Star Network. Find out more about the other great shows in the network by going to signalsmedia.com.
Portions of the music and sound effects heard on this show can be found at incompetech.com and freesound.org. You can find us outside of the show on our website, and that's at taurenThinkTank.com. And there you can find all of our podcasts and information on how to get in touch with us, too. And if you want some sweet Triple T merchandise, I know where you can find it. Where would that be? Oh, well, I'll tell you. You don't have to wait. It's taurenThinkTank.com/store. You can find some sweet t-shirts, sweatshirts, some mugs, phone cases, and more.
It's so nice. Thank you to all who support our show via Patreon. When Mark Honing gets back, we're going to be updating some stuff on our Patreon site. It's going to be really cool. So you guys can check it out. You can go and support us on Patreon at patreon.com/TaurenThinkTank. If you want to meet other members of the Triple T community, join our Discord server. The quick way to get there is tinyurl.com/TTTchat2.
Do it. And you can also like us on Facebook at facebook.com/TaurenThinkTank. You guessed it. You can find us on Twitter for the show at TaurenThinkTank. You can find Jules at JulesRPG. And you can find myself, Mark Honan, at Mark Honan. Wow.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, chat room, for being with us every Thursday night normally. Just we're here Wednesday because it's a weird week. 8 o'clock Central Daylight Time at twitch.tv/TaurenThinkTank is the way you find us on our live broadcast. Otherwise, you can download us through all kinds of things like iTunes, Stitcher, and Spotify. So awesome.
It is.
It's very cool to see us on Spotify. It's good, I gotta say.
It really is.
Mark Honan, safe travels.
And Jules, have a wonderful week. Enjoy all of your craftiness.
I will, and I will look forward to hearing how everything went when you get back.
Yes, yes. Can't wait.
It's so
See you guys
awesome.
at San Antonio.
See you in San Antonio. All right, for myself, for Mark Honan, for the entire chat room, until next time, which may be next week or may not, /moo, everybody.
/moo.
Tauren Think Tank. We make your problems less bad.
This podcast is a part of the Signals Media All-Star Network. For more information on this and other fine shows, go to signalsmedia.com. It's okay to stick our stuff in your ears. Really?
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 Really? Good night, 20. Oh, sorry, Jay. I've had a really long week and it's only Wednesday. Meow. Oh.
Okay. I tried to pick her up and she didn't want to have any of it.
Meow. She's been back and forth with the tail.
She really has. Hey, sweetie. There's a moth in here now. You need to kill and eat.
Eat the mouth.
Eat the moth.
Eat the mouth.
Eat the moth with your mouth.
You want with my hair? I might do that special if you show up, Jay, and you ask for it. I can play it for you. Because you're special.
Do you whip your hair back and forth?
No, because my hair's too fine and it doesn't have that weight.
Ah.
Good
Me
night,
either.
Pa.
I can't do a thing with it.
Yeah. Good night, Dad. Sleep well.
Good
I know you're
night,
tired.
Papa Jules.
I know you're tired too. It's been a long, it's only Wednesday and it feels like it's been the longest week ever. But
Yeah.
it's good. we're supposed to get all this snow tonight, and I'm just like,
Ugh.
well, and so I've been doing my normal workouts, plus I've added on the Heroes of Fitness 30-day challenge workouts, and it's just like this extra intensity that my body is just going, oh, you're so tired. You're so tired. So, because right now I do... Oh, yeah, you can see the humidifier. Sometimes when the heat comes on, it blows the humidifier around. So I had humidifier issues today, and I don't understand what the hell happened there. But I have a humidifier that's in this room, and I have one in my bedroom because it gets so dry in here. Because my windows are so tightly sealed, and so the one that was in my office here, excuse me, the one that's in my office here was like a month old. I just got it.
Oh.
I turned it on today, and it like the noise from the motor sounded like it was going to take off. And I'm like, oh no, this is so distracting. And I just got it a month ago, and this is a piece of crap. So, I went and got the other one and moved it in here, and I bumped the table that it was on because it's on a card table right now. Sorry, like a folding like table, like TV tray. That's what it is, TV tray. And I bumped it, and both of them tumbled to the floor, full of water, on the carpet. I'm like, no! So like mopping up all the water and stuff. I pick up the one that was from the bedroom that was supposedly working, and now it's all malfunctioning because I've tipped it over, and now it's like all malfunctioning. So it's shutting itself off, and then it's like flipping. It's like turning on the different levels. I'm not touching it. I'm like, it's broken. I broke 2 in one day.
No.
I know I have to order. I have already ordered a new one for the one here because I can't deal with the noise. It's too loud. So we've decided you can't leave the coast. Yeah, humidity is a necessary thing, and it gets so dry here. So I what is it current? It's like 45% humidity in this room with a humidifier running. That's it. Because I bought a little thing to tell me what the humidity level is in here.
Jay, if you want to go swimming in the open air, come to the South during the summer. Because if you want humidity, you got it. We've got it in boatloads down here.
That's just too much humidity, though. That's like 100% humidity, and it sucks.
Yeah, you're swimming. You're walking down the street, but you're also swimming, and you're also drowning because you're breathing, but you're breathing water everywhere.
82% right now. That's so like your stuff in the refrigerator is all sweating and everything, right? Because like your soda cans and stuff are all sweaty. Yeah, you're like ocean man.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right there.
Yeah, no thank you. No thank you. I hate excessive humidity. I don't like this cold dry weather either though, because everything is just like I put on lotion and it's just like it just like you get sucked right into your skin, and it just looks like
Yeah, it's been really dry down here as well, and the backs of my hands start cracking and bleeding when it starts to get too dry. And I've just been putting lotion on my hands constantly the last couple of weeks because it got to the point where they were just hurting. It hurt to clench my fist, and just your
skin is just not tolerating
it. Thankfully it rained. It's been drizzling all day. It looks like Silent Hill outside all day. All day, just completely driving through downtown Little Rock. You couldn't see any of the skyscrapers. It was just you were in a cloud all day.
Gray.
All day.
Yeah. It was kind of like that here too. It was like gray and but it's like it was almost 38 degrees, which is really warm for the last few weeks. And now it's about to just drop and snow, and I'm like, no.
I was just getting used to this. No.
Oh my gosh. When I went outside and it was above like 25, I was like, I can breathe and it doesn't hurt. It's awesome. Can I be out? And all the snow is melting from the pavement, which was amazing. So, yay. Well, safe travels. I hope you beat all the inclement weather coming your way.
Too. Thank you.
Yeah.
I can't wait, and I will send love and awesome feelings to you from the beans, and while I'm down there in San Antonio, it's It's going to be fun.
Yes, give them
And
lots of love and hugs.
I still say you should get like a 10-gallon. I should get you like a 10-gallon cowboy hat and send that to you.
Plunk it on my head during the stream.
Yeah.
Be like, yeah.
Thunk.
I'm
Like,
so
you just
silent.
see just like the bottom of your face. Just like it's like a hat, except for just this.
I'd be more likely to wear cowboy boots than I would a cowboy hat. So.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. All right, you guys, we're going to get out of here. Go watch Overwatch League or something. Enjoy the games.
Yeah.
And we'll talk to you guys either next week or the week after. /move, everybody.
Last, you guys have a wonderful weekend.